War of the Markles. Thomas lashes out over cruel daughter. Meghan is not the person I knew. He desperately wants to meet his grandkids, but the ice between Thomas and his daughter Meghan doesn't look to be thawing anytime soon. Hello, my friends. As the title says, this is a piece of information from a report we received from You Magazine. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the King YouTube channel. The outlet wrote, "It's hard to believe now, with all the murky water under the rickety bridge, that they were once as close as a dad and daughter could be. Pictures of a young Meghan and Thomas Markle show a pair clearly happy in each other's company. In one snap, she has her head on his shoulder. In another, he has his arm around her, and in yet another, he's smiling proudly with a beaming Meghan at her graduation. But how times have changed. It's been 5 years since Mad Meg and the father she once adored have spoken. Thomas has never met his invisible grandkids, Archofficial and Invisibed, and he has only ever had one single conversation with his son-in-law, Harry, and that was a really drama-filled phone call before Harry and Meghan's wedding. But if there is one thing Thomas refuses to do, it would be suffer in silence. Over the years, he has been pretty outspoken about being left out in the cold, and now he's at it again. Thomas Markle has been suffering from some really bad health lately, and he was speaking with a lot of difficulty after a stroke that he had last year. Recently, he went on TV to talk about the breakdown of his relationship with his daughter. It's his dying wish, apparently, to see Archie and Lily, but he fears this will never happen. Thomas told Good Morning Britain, "I'm heartbroken. I'm very upset. This is a cruel thing to do to a grandparent, to deny the right to see a grandchild." And he says that he probably could file suit against Meghan for the right to see those kids, but he doesn't want it to come to that. Thomas simply cannot understand what happened to the little girl he raised, the little girl who lived with him when she was a high schooler after he divorced her mother, Doria Ragland. He said, "I never saw the kind of woman she turned into. I'm shocked she's not the person I knew as my daughter." But see, if you ask me, even though I don't believe it was intentional, I think that Thomas Markle really encouraged Meghan's arrogance and her bullying from an early age. You can see a video clip highlighting her take things over attitude during that children's birthday party. It wasn't even her birthday. So the signs of things to come were obvious even when she was that young. I think if Thomas Markle were to really be honest with himself and look back at her behavior, he would see that she was probably a narcissist even back then. Or rather, a child who would grow up to become a narcissist. I believe that children are all a bit selfish, and we can't call them narcissists, so I take that back. But anyway, I gotta say, too many people made the mistake of giving Meghan too much freedom because her mother was in prison. If I were the parent hosting that birthday party, I would have reminded Meghan, I don't care if she was a guest, I would have told her, "Honey, it's not your party." And how rude to spoil that little girl's special day. If she wanted to be invited to more parties, then maybe she could have given that crown to the birthday queen and she could have followed in line behind her. I mean, if she could boss other children around at such an early age and really be a bully, I cannot see how she was affected by racism because her biracial heritage was clear in that picture. Strange, too, how back then Meghan's skin was actually a lot darker than it is now. Usually, skin gets darker as we get older, so it does make me curious about what all she has done to lighten her skin. That could be affecting her mental health. That could be part of the reason she is so insane. And I know the sugars, as always, are going to rush to her defense and say that she was just a leader early on in life. There is a big difference, though, between being a bully and being a good leader. A good leader understands that it's better to lead by example, not just order people around all the time. And then in another interview, Mr. Thomas Markle told the Daily Mail that Meghan was cold, saying, "It would be easier for Meghan if I died." He said, "What riles me is her sense of superiority. She'd be nothing without me. I made the hypocrisy Duchess what she is today. And did I get my recognition for it? Any thanks? She doesn't even speak to me now." And of course, things didn't get any better when Thomas decided to leak what he described as a hateful letter from Meghan to the Mail on Sunday, and that resulted in Meghan and Harry filing a lawsuit against the publication. Meghan has only once publicly addressed her fight with her father. In Meghan and Harry's 2021 interview with Oprah, she was asked if she felt betrayed by Thomas's paparazzi setup, and she basically said that she did. Harry and Meghan are so desperate to have a relationship with real celebrities. At their wedding, they invited a few A-listers. I mean, actually many A-listers, many whom they'd never even met before. But unfortunately, they didn't want to invite Meghan's own father. In Meghan's twisted mind, she was hoping that having a connection with people like that would open doors in Hollywood for her. But obviously, that was never going to happen. Her career was already dead. Delusional as always, Meghan probably believed the celebrities came to her wedding because they wanted to see her. I'm still not sure why she believed they would want to come to a wedding of this cable TV actress they'd never even heard of, but she convinced herself of that. They came, though, because it was the only invitation they were ever going to get to a wedding of the royal family. Who exactly did they come to see or speak with? It sure wasn't Meghan. And unfortunately for Meghan, her little scheme so far has not been working out very well. In fact, more and more people are trying to keep their distance from the gruesome twosome. Elton John, the Clooneys, Oprah, the Obamas, the Beckhams, even more celebrities at this point want nothing to do with them. I believe even Oprah now is keeping her distance from them. And boy, did they bulldoze their way to the very front to present Kevin Costner with that fake award. I'm guessing Costner didn't want to make a scene in front of his other guests by outright rejecting them, but I'm sure he wasn't impressed by their antics. How could he have been? Obviously, he already knew what they were all about because he was trying his best to avoid them, but still, he let them come up on stage. And recently, Meghan was seen out and about in her new favorite location, the parking lot, with three ladies. Her PR firm obviously paid them to take a photo with her to try to make her look good and like she has fans. Now, a couple of those ladies were in the crowd at the Royal Walkabout after the late Queen's funeral. One of them hugged Meghan. It was all a PR setup. They are hired actors. They have fallen on their faces in their initial attempt to be famous, and that's because they have no talent. And they've already used up all of the celebrity connections that Harry has as an ex member of the royal family. So now they're trying their best to still be celebrities, but I'm not sure how they think it's going to work. They are just relying on this idea of famous for being famous. They are sure that's going to be enough for them. Meghan's fame has always been based on having her name show up in the news as often as possible. A big part of the problem, though, is that Meghan and Harry have overplayed their hand. They have used those titles to death, and their attendance at these paid for honor ceremonies are really becoming annoying. I mean, what about that 2 hour car chase scenario after attending one of those ceremonies in New York? That certainly did not get them the attention they wanted. And then people looked into the details and discovered they made the whole thing up. That stunt blew up in their faces big time because journalists did their homework. And it showed they just did that for publicity. History was not repeating itself. I mean, come on. And that was the initial focus of the breaking story. It seems like so many of their endeavors do gain initial publicity, but they lack the long term appeal that would keep their names in the headlines. That's because they're just not very likable. Meghan and Harry figure if they can just show up to a few celebrity events once in a while, that's going to be enough. They'll try to make a speech, maybe they'll try to buy an award for themselves, and then their names will continue to be in the headlines. And both of them seem convinced that if they just get that celebrity famous and fame they are so desperate for, everybody's going to love them. And both of them feel like they deserve that. Whether it be as commoners or the Hollywood elite, we do share one thing at least. We cannot stand the Montecito malcontents. And you, what do you think about this couple? Please tell me your opinion below in the comments. If you think my video is useful, don't be afraid to like and share it with your friends and relatives who would love it anytime you want. Please don't forget to subscribe to our The King YouTube channel to get more updates in the future. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a lovely evening, and we'll be back to see you tomorrow. Bye. I love you all.